Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Social Media Breakfast this morning. My name is Nick Palkowski, and I'm going to be the one running the stream here, as well as the one presenting. One of the things I love about Social Media Breakfast, Madison, is that just the way we have such a big community, and every single month it's really great to talk to other people who are a part of the social media community here in Madison. So we want to make this as similar as possible, even being stuck here in our own separate places. So be sure to comment throughout the stream, leave any questions, feel free to interact. You can start by letting us know where you're watching from, or even showcasing your setup on Instagram. Just kind of let us know how things are going. And with that, we're going to get ready here to jump on in to the actual presentation. So I am going to throw things over to Margie, if she is there and ready to rock. So, lost my headphones. 1 second. Yes, we are live, and yes, we have a little bit of setup stuff going on here. So, all right, let's throw it over to Margie.
Hey, am I live?
You are.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. Hope everyone is doing well and at home, in comfort of home. I guess we'll go ahead and just jump right in. It's hard to do show of hands as far as who's new, who's not. So I think we'll just go ahead and jump right into the presentation here and the introductions and get moving. I can't necessarily see the slides.
I will definitely take care of running the slides for you if you just want to kind of jump on in.
Okay. All right. Okay. So our focus is education and networking. We're getting a lot more education than networking today, but we're kind of all in this in spirit together today. So raise your coffee cup to getting together with all of your virtual friends here. We meet the third Wednesday morning of each month, typically 7:30. May is yet to be determined, so we will let you know as soon as we know what May looks like. Various locations throughout the Madison area. We have most of the rest of the events for the year at Dream Bank. And if you're interested in hosting an event in 2021, we are looking for locations in the coming year. We do, as a nonprofit, we do have a PayPal location. If you love our programming and want to see things continue, this is a great way to give back to the community. Scholarships, we do offer scholarships to go to social media conferences, other professional development opportunities that may arise. And we can send you there. We've sent different people throughout the year to social media marketing world and to other conferences. So feel free to apply on our website if you're interested. All right, this is our board, and we're always looking for additional members. As you notice, the man that's usually here doing our emceeing is not here. New dad alert for him. So his wife gave birth to their baby boy within the past week. So congratulations to Josh. We also have a new board member to announce. Welcome to David. I'm super excited to have David on board. He's been a really dedicated volunteer. I know you've seen him around and seen him very engaged on our social channels. So thank you so much, David, for joining our team, and we're super excited to welcome you. So getting involved with Social Media Breakfast. There's lots of opportunities from speaking to volunteering, sponsoring. So if you have any questions, drop us a line or go to our website. We also do have our Facebook group. It's within Social Media Breakfast Facebook page, and it's Social Media Madison Masterminds. Join us. We have a lot of good conversations within that group, you know, things that come up that people aren't have questions about, or, you know, like, have you seen the latest and greatest? So a great place to connect with like-minded people. Once we are able to get back together, one of the initiatives that we want to start is to help us go green. So starting with the next event that we are together, we want to invite you to bring your own reusable coffee mug. That also applies to once we're allowed to bring and use our own reusable coffee mugs. So keep that in mind. We'll remind you each month that as we move forward here, we want to make sure that we're being green. All right, so who wants to win a social media marketing or a social media breakfast Madison coffee mug? We encourage you today to send pictures and post them on Instagram with the hashtag SMBmad. You could post them other places, we'll find them. But post a picture of kind of where you're watching from. Are you sitting outside in the snow? Are you all cozied up in your slippers? So we'd love to see those pictures. We will do a drawing tomorrow morning and announce the winner of a coffee mug tomorrow. And then we'll get that to you probably at our next in-person event. You can also use that hashtag throughout the day for as we normally do. Nonprofit spotlight. So we have 2 nonprofit spotlights today. Badger Bots is one of them. Badger Bots was going to be with us in our March event, so we didn't get to give them a shout out. But they are a nonprofit whose mission is to promote, I'm just gonna read the slide here, to promote STEAM, so science, technology, engineering, art, and math programs for all ages. Badger Bots provides summer camps, after school programs, workshops, and spring break camps. And in addition, they support several robotics teams for ages 7 to 18. And they're also the Wisconsin coordinator for the First Lego League and First Lego League junior programs. So give them a shout out, check them out. They are at badgerbots.org and also on Facebook and Twitter at badgerbots. So that was our March nonprofit spotlight. We do have one for April as well. So we are also welcoming Chrysalis Pops. The Chrysalis mission is to promote mental health recovery in our community through work opportunities that encourage hope, healing, and wellness. Chrysalis Pops, a social enterprise, offers members of our community living with mental health challenges and opportunity to gain meaningful paid work experience from seed to sales. Participants grow, create, and sell organic frozen fruit pops throughout Madison and surrounding areas. I noticed that they also kind of talked about us a little bit yesterday. Had they been here in person, it looks like they were going to bring us some Chrysalis Pops. So we're missing out, but take the opportunity to check out their website. I was on it yesterday, and they're doing a lot of great things in the community. They are on Instagram and Facebook, and then also have a website. Next month, May 15th, we have Love Wisconsin joining us, either virtually or in person, for brand storytelling. If the event is in person, it will be at Dream Bank. And if not, we'll be doing this again. So either way, we're really looking forward to their presentation. All right, on to sponsors. So these are the sponsors that help keep these events free and support us in so many ways to to keep things up and running. And then these are our partner creators. So they are making us look amazing, sound amazing, and then doing recaps of our events. So yes, we actually do even have a photographer here. So we'll have photographs from the event today. So we're going full bore on this today. All right, Andy from Dream Bank, are you ready to jump in?
All right. Good morning, folks. Sad we're not in the Dream Bank space today, but I'm glad that we could all gather here virtually. Thanks to Nick for kind of manning the things behind the scenes and providing the content today. Shout out to Marty too for rocking the intro. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Andy Frisky. I'm a dream curator at Dream Bank. And I'm sure we do have a few first timers tuning in today. So a little bit of context about what Dream Bank is and why we exist. Dream Bank is a free community resource that's located right in downtown Madison, Wisconsin. But everything that we do is geared towards helping inspire people to pursue their dreams. And in large part, it's through the events that we put on. So when we're not in quarantine, we host right around 40 free events a month that span a range of small business and entrepreneurial workshops to inspiration, motivational, wellness speaker series. We host fitness events, career development activities, kids activities on Saturdays. So we really try and cover the gamut in terms of our programs. We have actually pivoted to hosting these events via Facebook Live, or at least the majority of these events are via Facebook Live. So we're still trying to put out a ton of great content for all of our guests. We've had some really cool events that we haven't done in the past. Shout out to my coworker, Nick Jackson, for making some awesome crafting videos. We've had some magic tutorials on there as well for some of the kiddos too. So lots of really cool activities that we've been putting out. And as Margie said, I hope to see you all in person next month, May 15th. If not, I will most certainly be joining you here. So thank you, folks.
All right, next we have Powder Keg. Elise is here. Elise, jump on in.
Yep. Hi, everyone. My name's Elise. I'm with Powder Keg Web Design, and our specialty really is custom website design and development. But outside of that, our team really likes to focus on creating free digital marketing resources for all of you to take advantage of. And so I would highly recommend checking out our Powder Keg University section of our website. I'll post a link to that down in the comments below. That's really where we're going to be sharing the majority of our downloadable guides. We post frequently on our blog. We have a e-newsletter you can sign up for, and you can also check out our list of any upcoming events, which I do want to mention. We have a webinar coming up next Tuesday. This webinar will be more so focused on your digital marketing strategy as a whole and really breaking down the different components and levels of a successful digital marketing strategy. And so, again, you can find that on Powder Keg University, which I'll link to. And then the only other thing I want to kind of plug is that I love connecting with new people on LinkedIn, and I do have a weekly series called Tidbit Tuesday, where I also like to post weekly tips, usually just kind of like small insights to help you with your digital marketing. So I'll link to my profile below, and if that sounds interesting to you, then please connect with me. And I hope everyone enjoys the presentation.
All right, Darlene from Metcalf's, come on in.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to sort of see you. Usually I would be at social media breakfast with some amazing food from Metcalf's, hopefully a yummy local thing that you enjoy or something fun like our cereal bar. Just want to let everybody know about a cool way that Metcalf's is trying to help out with our local restaurant community right now. They're one of the hardest hit by everything that's going on, and we're hosting a local gift card sale. So if you go to shopmetcalfs.com, which is our website, and you buy a $25 gift card to, I think we've got 12 or 15 different local restaurants, including, like Madison Originals, which has over 30 members, Food Fight, which has over 20 locations. So you buy a $25 gift card and you get one of these. It's a $20 off coupon, a purchase of $100 or more at Metcalf's. Everybody needs groceries. So you buy a gift card for a local restaurant, you get something for yourself. we think it's awesome. So that runs through Sunday this week. So just go to shopmetcalfs.com. I'll put a link in the comments directly to the actual site as well. And I know that all of our local restaurants would love it if we could support them. So thank you from Metcalfs. Everybody have a great day.
All right, next up, True Coffee. We're missing you.
All right. Yeah, and we are missing all of you. So hi, everyone. Excuse me. My name is Reed the Roaster with True Coffee Roasters. This would have been, if we were all in person, my first social media breakfast to meet all of you and provide you with delicious coffee. But unfortunately, we cannot do that. So I am replacing Devin for these events. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about what True Coffee is doing during this time. So our cafe is still open. Go on down there. There's Ben, the manager, and he is doing everything he can to keep the smile on and serve you coffee, serve you food, get it all out the door. We also have our online sales have definitely uptick, and we thank anyone who may be watching that has contributed to that. But our website is definitely a great source for our coffee, so that's truecoffeeroasters.com. And also our grocery partners, big help with what they're trying to do right now. But you can help us out with at Metcalf's, Festivals, Hy-Vee's, Miller's, the Bills in Oregon, or the Bursons all the way out in Belleville. But yeah, so in the roastery side of things, we've done our best to make sure that our supply channels are correct, that we still have coffee coming in, that our farmers are doing okay, and that we in the roastery are still producing coffee. So yeah, that's what we're up to right now. And every day is kind of a fight, but we're not giving up. So plenty of coffee to keep us moving.
Nice. All right. So without further ado, thank you to everyone who has come on to be our sponsors this morning. Really appreciate you. So without further ado, we're going to introduce Nick. So Nick, it's been the Nick show today. So thank you, Nick, for running this program for us and then being our speaker and just tying it all together. You are an absolute rock star. So I will throw it over to you, and we appreciate everyone being on this morning to join us.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Margie. I really appreciate it. And I'm very excited to kind of jump in to everything here. The world has definitely changed a lot here in the last few months. We're all now forced to go about and do a lot of these virtual meetings or have virtual happy hours or dinners. Let me know in the comments if you've done a virtual happy hour or dinner with friends yet, or a brunch. We just did a brunch the other weekend. So let me know with a yes in the comments if you've done any of that. But it's kind of been interesting. It's kind of forced a lot of us to really adapt and to change things and to go about things in a different way. And honestly, a lot of these virtual meetings and these ways of reaching out to businesses or reaching out to your audience is going to be similar and going to move forward in a similar vein here, even in the future. We've kind of let the cat out of the bag, if you will, and live video is going to continue to be a great way to connect with your audience because more people are going to already be accepting of it. It's been moving that direction already for a while, but now we're really kind of jumping full steam into that. And one of the reasons that live video is so big and live streaming is so big is because of just the potential to connect with your audience in that virtual way, to come there to share a lot of your knowledge with people and to share things with your audience and build that relationship so we can kind of continue to move forward. So live video, one of the reasons it's so big is because you never know what's going to happen, and you're able to interact with your audience in real time. Like, I'm able to look down and see Jill saying good morning to Tony, and I know there's been a few questions. I'm seeing virtual happy hours, Jonathan saying virtual happy hours all the way. So you're able to actually interact and engage with the people who are here. And that's what we want to definitely try to do today, is have a very engaging, interactive, answering your questions type of presentation to help you kind of make that jump into this new world of live streaming. Some of you have already been going live. Some of you, this is brand new and have never done it or are just starting to think about it. So let me know. I am curious if you have done any sort of live streaming at all. Let me know in the comments. That's something I'm very curious about. But we're going to continue to dive in, because it's that ability to be so dynamic, to be so flexible, that really makes this real for people. It really allows people, it's what takes it up to that kind of next level for people. And just imagine what it would be like if you could go through and really share your journey. If you could go through and tell people what it's like, take them along on the ride with you, to share some of your biggest successes, to share some of the pain, some of the struggles that you're going through right now, especially as many businesses have been forced to close. What if you could bring people along and kind of tell them what you're doing to help people this time where we're all forced to stay inside? How are you interacting? What are you doing to make this possible for your business and for the people in your community? You're able to share the pains. You're also able to showcase a lot of what you're doing and how you're running your business, or how you're creating. Like, just imagine if, as a restaurant, you could show and really share how you're going about preparing those dishes, preparing those takeout meals for people, so that you can continue to serve them as a restaurant. Or imagine if you're able to actually jump in and really show people the behind the scenes of your business, the process of creating a new product, or how you are redesigning your home in order to be able to work from home in your studio, in your second bedroom, or in the corner of the kitchen table. If you could take people along on that ride, it would be really cool. It's a great way to kind of give people a look behind the scenes and let them feel like they're more than just followers. And that's one of the unique things about live video, is it allows you to go from people feeling like just a follower to actually becoming more than that, to really becoming a part of a community. And that ultimately is the power of live video. And that's what I really want to dive in here with you today and talk more about, is what is that power of live video, and how can you go about and use it to grow your business. So if you are ready to hear more about the power of live video, leave a comment, say yes, let me know. The comments are coming in like crazy, so I know this is gonna be good. I'm really excited for that. We do have lots of those comments coming in, so I can't wait to jump in and talk to all of you. I do have just a couple like housekeeping kind of things as we kind of go and run through everything. If you have a question, the easiest way for me to be able to find that, because we have so many comments coming in, is going to be to do a double question mark ahead of your question, and then write your question. I'm going to pause every so often and kind of run through all the comments, make sure we hit up any questions that people have. I'm definitely going to save some time at the end of the presentation here to kind of go in and talk more and answer more of your questions, because I wasn't sure which route to really go with, to talk a lot about how to deal with the way we are, the situation we're living in right now, where we're all stuck at home for at least probably another month, or if you wanted to jump into more content about how do you continue to use this to grow your business afterwards. So we're going to hit a little bit of both, but if you have any immediate questions, leave them in the comments. Happy to jump into that. But one of the true big powers of video is simply the fact that it's going to allow you to build that know, like, and trust with your audience. That is how you turn people from just that average audience person to those customers, to those clients, is you need to develop that know, like, and trust aspect. And then the best way to do that is, some of the best brands that do that is through storytelling, by sharing some of those things, by talking to people, letting people know, and really showcasing those stories of what it's like to run your business, what it's like, what your products can do for people. So that's something we definitely want to know, and we definitely want to try and communicate through our live videos. So I have a question for all of you kind of before we really jump in. What have you gone live before? If so, let me know, like, what kind of level. Are you using it from a computer? Are you using it from a phone? Or how are you going live, and have you gone live before? I would love to know that. And so I've been doing live video for a long time here. I spend most of my days in video in some way, shape, or form. And a decent amount of it is live video, from running clients' weekly shows to running my live streaming events like Social Media Breakfast, which is actually, this picture is from Social Media Breakfast. I'm really excited when we're going to be able to meet again in person, so it's going to be awesome. But I've been doing live events specifically since 2014. I kind of ran my first live event, and I've been really hooked on them ever since, and I love the whole event aspects of live streaming. Obviously, things are a little bit different now since we can't be in person, but it's still a lot of those same tips and tricks and things that I've learned throughout the years can really apply. Because I love events so much just because they allow you to do some guest interviews. And you can still do that while stuck at home. We can do these virtual interviews. You can bring people on through Zoom like we did here this morning to conduct those guest interviews. Or you can, actually do more on-stage presentations and live stream those. That's where I spent a lot of my time, is things like that. Or you can even go behind the scenes showcasing some of those. Maybe at the same live events, you can take people behind the scenes of events and really live stream that and showcase those interactions. Or you can launch some products. For example, if you can live stream in order to do product announcements, which I know can be useful, even if for those businesses, those people who are stuck at home. If you're launching products now, you can live stream that and really showcase some of the differences of those. And that's a great way to interact and engage with your audience and announce a lot of those products. And it's with all of this live streaming experience that I've learned a few things, noticed some common patterns, common patterns and strategies that people need to be paying attention to. And so I've created just this 5-element live streaming strategy, and that's really what we're going to dive in here today. But before I do, I just want to jump back in a few of those comments and see what kind of comments people are having, making sure things are going well here for everyone. So let's jump in and check out. I see lots of people commenting that yes, they're using a phone. Nope, never been brave enough to try. Well, hopefully by the end of this, we're going to encourage you to just jump in and go live. Badger Talks is going live every Tuesday and Thursdays at noon. That's great to know. Thanks for letting us know that. Tony has done a couple live videos. So seeing a lot of people saying yes live on the phone. A lot of people asking about software and equipment. So we're going to jump in and do that. To use indoor and outdoor, okay. Lisa will definitely jump in and talk about that. I have equipment. I might even go grab some of it in the other room. But yeah, we're going to jump in and talk a lot about equipment here too. I'll kind of try to breeze over that, but let's jump back in and talk more about the 5 elements of a live streaming strategy. The first one, we're going to jump in along the way. We're going to talk about those 5 elements, but with each element, I want to talk about some of the pitfalls, because there's going to be things that can hold people up, that can trip people up when we talk about live streaming. These are things like being a little intimidated, not quite being ready to jump in there. We'll talk about some of that. We'll talk about a pitfall for each of these strategies. So with that, I'm going to save time for sure at the end for questions and answers, but I'm going to be jumping in throughout, probably after each element, jumping in, looking for any questions that we can answer. If I don't answer it immediately, doesn't mean I didn't see your question. We'll definitely jump back in and answer some of those at the end. So number one element of these 5 strategies is the weekly show. This is what I really recommend people have. And what I mean by a weekly show, I mean a show that is on the same day, at the same time, every single week. It's kind of building in that habit. It's like Social Media Breakfast is live the 3rd Wednesday of every month. You know when to expect that event. We want to get to that same place with you and a live stream show. I definitely recommend that the most, because it builds that habit. It helps people really connect with you and helps people know it helps people know what to expect and when to expect you to jump on. And I'm sure many of you have television shows now, especially if they're not on Netflix or anything like that, but there's a lot of regular TV viewing, HBO, things like that, where you're expecting it to happen at a certain time on a certain day, and maybe you jump in that day, but that doesn't mean you can't watch it at a different time. But there's a small community that is able to build around jumping in and watching your show every Wednesday at 8 a.m. And that habit piece is going to also be good for you, because it's going to help build up that content creation muscle, which is one of the big things that holds most of us back. I still have issues with that sometimes, trying to create my own content. It's easy for clients, but when you're trying to do it for yourself, sometimes there is that little bit of hesitation to jump in there to create that content. But knowing that you told people you're going to be live every Wednesday at 8 a.m. is going to be that extra little push that you need to jump in there and create some sort of content. And this weekly show can really be that foundation for live video, for your content, your video content strategy. We're going to talk a little bit more about how you can repurpose some of this, but having that live stream can be that foundational element for your entire video strategy, which I think is really awesome, and it's going to be very helpful. The key here, though, is going to be that consistency. Can you build in that habit of creating content and showing up again and again every single week? Number one pitfall here is really that overwhelm. It kind of covers a few different areas of overwhelm. We have a few different areas I want to talk about, but the first overwhelm piece is really not knowing what do I say, not knowing what type of content to talk about, what type of content to jump in and mention, because we do really have two pitfalls on this stage. But the first is, what do I say? That's why I recommend you create some sort of consistent show flow. I'm going to run through a quick example one. You might want to adjust yours to whatever meets the best needs for your group, but you want to have some sort of consistent template that you can go to again and again and again, and always jump into that template. So here is an example of a show flow. Maybe the first thing you want to do is really start off with that hook. That's going to be that 10 to 15, maybe 30 seconds that is going to entice people to view your show, to watch that video, to watch that live stream. Really, this hook is not necessarily for your live stream viewers. It's not necessarily for the people who are showing up live. It's going to be for the many multiples who show up after the fact. Your live streams, depending on your audience size, depending on a lot of things, it's going to depend on how many people actually view your live stream. But one of the key things you want to realize is that more people are going to watch your show after the fact than are going to actually watch it live. More people are going to jump in and view it than are going to view it while you're live. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it's always going to be, is that more people will watch it on demand than at any other point. So that hook is important because it's going to be what catches that viewer and encourages them to continue to listen and to continue to want to engage with your topic. From the hook, then you're going to want to jump in potentially to some sort of bumper. This is going to be a thing if you're running more of a fancier live stream show where you want to showcase like a little logo and a little bit of a bumper, kind of talking about what your show's about. This is generally a recorded video ahead of time that you might play. I would recommend that is under like 7 to 10 seconds. It should be quick. Can give people more of that branding element, that idea of what your show's about. It's like what you normally see on the news or what you normally see at the beginning of your favorite TV show. There's usually some sort of bumper. A lot of times after a cold open, after some sort of hook, they throw that bumper in there to continue to build that branding element. And that's what you want to do as well if you're able to. Some of you, if you're just going live from your phone, you might just want to cut this out completely, and then you can actually jump back in and talk a little bit more about that when you get to this next element, which is that introduction piece. This is what's going to kind of tell people who you are, tell people what your show's about, and then introduce that topic. And this is where you're going to really kind of introduce that. And this doesn't need to be very long, but this is where you're going to jump into everything. And from there, you're going to jump into your main content. Maybe it is the 5 elements of live streaming strategy, or the 3 things you need to consider when looking for a fair trade coffee. Whatever it might be, this is where you're going to jump into that main content. You're then going to, we'll touch on this a little bit later, but you're going to want to build certain things into this main content piece as well. That'll come in one of our later strategies. But from the main content piece, you're going to then quickly wrap everything up, kind of mention what the elements are, what the strategies are kind of really wrap things up. And then you're going to give your close, and usually the close is going to include some sort of call to action for people. So that was a lot of information, I know. That is kind of the overview of what the type of strategies or what the main show flow is going to look like. And the next thing to really consider and to really think about is the fact that there are a few different types of episodes. And I'm going to jump into questions in just a second, but I want to first run through this, and this is going to kind of be the big content piece of what you need to consider about what to say. So I think there are really 4 main types of episodes. So let's jump in and talk a little bit about what those are. So 4 different types of episodes. The first is going to be your purely educational episode. This is where you're jumping on and doing some sort of how-to video. I just recorded a video for my YouTube channel on how to schedule a Facebook Live with the new interface for 2020. That is an example of a how-to stream or a how-to episode. It's purely educating people. Maybe it's telling people your roasting process. Whatever it might be, it's you jumping on, talking through things, telling and educating people, giving them that how-to information. The next type is thought leader interview. This is where you're bringing on somebody else who has expertise in another area, or expertise in a tangential area, or more expertise than you have in a specific area. This is where you're talking to other thought leaders in your industry and sharing that information with your audience. No matter what type of business you're in, this is going to be valuable information. So like this doesn't matter if you are in, if you're a product-based business or if you're an educational-based business, these thought leader interviews are going to help out no matter what type of business you're in. And I don't think enough people jump in and utilize those. So I want to really recommend, when you're thinking about your content strategy, think about adding the thought leader interview in. The next one to really think about is the case study interview, or the case study. This doesn't necessarily have to be an interview, but really what you're doing with a case study is you are showcasing how someone it's kind of like a testimonial on steroids almost. You're showcasing how someone is using your product or something that you taught them in order to get a certain result. And really you're showcasing their story. You're talking about what they did. You're perhaps bringing them on and doing an interview with them, talking about maybe some of the issues they had or the struggles they had before implementing this strategy or before using your product, and then how things have changed afterwards. The reason this is really helpful is because it's a way of kind of talking about your expertise. It's giving that testimonial without being a pure testimonial, which most people aren't going to want to sit and listen to a peer testimonial. They want to know what the strategies are like, what the product is like in the real world, and how it's worked for other people. So this is going to be a great way to do that, is with these case study episodes. And the last one is honestly one of my favorite. It is the experiential. This is where I think live video shines even more than anything else, because what I mean by experiential, that's taking people behind the scenes of an event or an expo when we're able to finally do those again. Or it's doing a walkthrough of your studio, like a live stream walkthrough of your work at home situation or your office now. So it would be me grabbing the phone or grabbing the camera and doing a full breakdown of what I have set up here in the office, in our studio here at home. Those are the type of things that experiential is going to do. It's going to it's bringing them into the kitchen and showcasing them how you're preparing everything, or how you're boxing and prepping everything, or the extra safety measures that you're doing right now at at your store, at the groceries, at the dealership, or wherever it might be, to really make sure things are safe for people when they do need to interact or do need to go into your business. It's showcasing those kinds of things. It's taking them behind the scenes and giving them that real experiential element. So with that, really the thing you need to do here is just get started. I want to really encourage you to just take action and get started. And so I'm going to just challenge you a little bit here. I want to challenge you to go live tomorrow or today. It could be a quick video, could be a quick just live stream, but I really want to challenge you to go and actually go live, grab your phone and just get started. It's always going to be a little bit of a challenge. It's always going to be a little bit difficult. There are going to be those hesitations. You're not going to know. Your first one's going to probably be your worst one. That's just the way it works. But the only way to get better is to get started and start making those little bit of progress along the way and continue to move forward and move forward. So that is my big push to you, is just get started. So now I want to jump in and talk about something else that I know we have been. First, let's jump in and see if there are any major questions around kind of this first element of just this overwhelm piece of what do I say. I see in lots of comments, lots of great comments. Thank you for Linda just mentioned to have great online presence. Thank you. I appreciate that. Exactly, Donna. I'm just reading. Part of the draw of going live is the human aspect. I completely agree. That is going to be a big piece that we want to be sure to embrace. Any suggestions? Tiana has any suggestions for using live video for canceled trade shows or industry events? Looking for ways to deliver support for teams. I'm going to actually save that one for later on here, and where we're going to talk a little bit more about something where I think we can help with some of that. All right, I am seeing lots of equipment questions. So let's jump into this element right here. This other kind of piece that can really hold people back on this first part of creating content, of just that weekly show, is going to be this one, which is gear overwhelm. Not necessarily knowing what to do, how to interact, what you can use. That's going to be a big piece, and a big thing that's going to hold people back is this gear overwhelm. And I want to encourage you that you don't just want to buy a bunch of gear. If you're like me, that's going to kind of be your instinct. I'm a huge fan of gear, and just love. So I've bought plenty of gear that hasn't been super useful, and I don't want you to do that same mistake. I don't want you to have that same mistake. I want to help you think about gear in the right way. So first things first is to really know what's possible. So you're seeing a lot of what we can do here. So you're seeing things like being able to have my face here, the camera here live, but then still being able to have slides on the show, or to be able to jump back to the camera. I set things up in a slightly different way than I was expecting. So being able to jump back to the camera and have the main screen here, to be able to throw lower thirds across the screen, or to do all kinds of other elements. There's lots of really cool things that you can do with your stream, with your live video, that you can basically run a mini TV show. If you can imagine like a morning talk show or any sort of thing like that, you can do that here with live streaming nowadays for a much more reasonable amount than you would imagine. Just back when I got started with some of this, it was very difficult to do a lot of these things, and it would cost thousands of dollars just to get a lot of the software in order to run some of these type of streams. But now that's not the case. So I want you just to know what's possible. For example, you can create some really cool interactions and ways to interact with people, and just really unique type of stuff. So I just wanted to mention, to show this, that you can even say, create some engagement elements where you have your current So we have lots of people hashtagging social media SMBmad, showcasing their setups for the morning. So I just want to encourage and thank everyone for doing that, first of all. But this is something you can easily bring into your stream and to do in order to encourage a lot of that social interaction, a lot of that engagement elements. It's just a really neat thing that you're able to do. So once you kind of have an idea for what you're able to do, then the next thing that you need to really be thinking about is how can I be, and we're going to skip through, how can I be very upgrade. While you're thinking about what you can do, you also want to be able to think about where you currently are. Many of us aren't starting out with all this equipment. I certainly did not start out at this level. It's been a slow iteration process, but I'm going to bet that many of you have one thing in your pocket that is able to go live really easily, and that is going to be your phone. Most of us are going to have a phone that's going to be able to go live, that you're going to be able to use to really create a lot of those interaction elements and to go live. So I want to encourage you to really start where you are. And once you do that, once you start where you are, then you should be upgrade focused. So think about being able to continue to kind of move forward and be upgrade focused to be able to jump in and slowly make the correct purchases with everything and slowly do those correct elements and make the right purchases by not wasting money on frivolous things or things that you don't necessarily need. Because I really believe there are 3 main levels to live streaming. So there are 3 different levels, and we're going to run through these pretty quickly because I think many of you have an idea what they are. First is going to be your level 1, which is your phone. That's you can slowly add a few different elements there. Things like a tripod holder, glyph is the one I recommend, really love. You can have the tripod. You can add a little bit of lights even, or the better you can get your lighting for your streams, the better things are going to be. And then even talking about upgrading mics and how you can do different mics. Even with your phone, you can upgrade some of those things. Next level is going to be the basic level, which is going to start when you're jumping on to, say, your computer. You're going to start using some sort of software, maybe a webcam, a little nicer webcam. This is generally where you're going to add in a much nicer mic, like a USB mic at least, if not an XLR one. But this is where you're going to deal with a lot of the software elements. And I get tons of questions. I know there's a bunch of them here already on the stream about what software to use. There are lots of them out there. There are people who love different ones. These are going to be the ones I recommend, and I recommend because of the quality that you can get from them and the things that you can do from them. If you are running a Mac, the first one I'm going to recommend is Ecamm Live. They've changed their pricing model slightly from when I originally got it, I know, so I'm not sure what the current pricing model is, but it's going to be relatively cheap. And it's going to allow you to do some basic things. You can have different cameras for your live stream. You can have different scenes that you can set up. It will save those scenes, so you can always go back, create templates for your show. You can bring in comments. You can do a bunch of different things here with this. You don't want to add too much to it because it starts to use a lot of your computer power. And I'm just going to be honest, as someone who is sitting here with an iPhone, a MacBook, another iMac, and all kinds of Apple products. Apple is not the best. Macs are not the best for live streaming. They just aren't. The way they use power is just not. I'm not going to go into all the details, but they're not the greatest for live streaming. They can do some live streaming though. So if you're going to do some basic stuff, I recommend Ecamm or Wirecast. Wirecast will go do both Mac and PC. If you're going PC, if you're going Mac and want a little bit next level up from Ecamm Live, then that's where I'd recommend looking at Wirecast or something like Wirecast, because that's going to allow you to do a few more elements. You can build in some triggers, things like that, where you can make certain stuff happen automatically just by hitting one button. Those type of things, or bringing in a MIDI controller like what I have here. You can kind of see that. I have one right here. That's going to allow you to do a lot of those things or those elements here. The next thing to think about, almost forgot to mention the big element, the one I am using right now, which is vMix. vMix is definitely what I recommend. You need a PC for it. This is kind of that higher level one streaming software, and I highly recommend it if you're able to go that route, if you want to go that route, if you know live streaming is going to be a huge thing that you want to do, if you're going to spend the money on a PC, go with vMix. It just allows you to do more. And then once you get up to level 3, that's going to be your production level quality. That's where you're going to have a dedicated streaming PC like I do right here. I have this Alienware. That is actually the computer. I just have a laptop because I need to be very portable with a lot of the streams that I do. So that's what I have. It works really well. And you're going to also start thinking about some studio cameras, some extra little camera elements that can do extra live streams like this one that I have right here. This, I'm using what's called a PTZ camera. It's that one on screen actually. But you see it allows me to kind of make some adjustments, move things around. I can zoom in. You can do lots of those elements with a camera like that, or even just going to a more higher production quality camera, which I realized I forgot to turn on, but is over there. I have another one, which would be just a purely different angle kind of element. If you have a bunch of questions on gear, I do want to recommend to head on over to nickpolkowski.com/SM, it's supposed to be SMBmad, and that's going to allow you to, you can jump in and get my gear guide. It's going to walk you through all the gear with links to everything that I recommend, links to microphones, all that stuff is going to be there. But with that, I think we've come to the big take action piece for gear, and that is to add complexity as you go. Don't try and jump into all this crazy streaming. You can see even as I'm doing some of this, as I'm running around here, I'm forgetting about certain things because especially when you're on camera, that's a lot of different elements that you need to be managing. When you're on camera presenting as well as producing a stream, you're going to want to take slow actions in terms of adding complexity. So maybe just start first with your phone and just worry about having your phone. I'd recommend thinking about a couple elements here. If you're starting out with just your phone, because I know that's where a lot of you are going to be starting out, is you want your phone to be at about eye level. Don't be having it down here, kind of down below. No one wants to see up your nose. We want it eye level. And I recommend, even if you're not adding any microphones, take your hand and kind of cup it around where the mic is. So that way, when you're talking, you're going to kind of almost be shooting the sound into your phone just a little bit more. It helps the sound just a little bit. It's not going to be amazing, but it's going to help improve the quality of your sound. And I highly recommend thinking about that and those little elements when you're streaming. Always try to find good light, whether that's facing a window, things like that. So with this, let's run through a lot of your questions because I know there was a bunch of them. Ken, just to kind of jump off, I don't know specifics on what vMix can run with or what the minimum requirements are. I highly recommend going to vmix.com. They have all of their system requirements, the minimum, and then I'd recommend even going a little bit above the minimum, just you're gonna have a better user experience. But go check that out. Otherwise, if vMix doesn't run, then I would look at something like Wirecast or see what some of your other options are. Thank you for sharing what I recommend. Really appreciate that. Lots of people saying hi to each other. That's great. What program software do you use to make this split screen multiple display during live? Thank you. I am using vMix. So I'm able to build everything in through vMix. It works really well. That's the software I recommend. You are going to be able to do that with a lot of other software out there as well. But that's what I do. So really, we just have a few different options here, and I'm able to connect things and throw up different elements and different screens and just slowly build things the way I want. You're able to do that with Ecamm to some extent, and it's a great way to really interact and engage with a lot of, and to create some of those dynamic elements. And again, this is going to be something that I don't recommend you just try to do everything all on the first day you get it. Start at a spot where you're going to go and try one thing every single stream. Try one new thing every stream. That's going to be a great way where you're going to make significant progress in a very short amount of time while not going crazy at the same time. And I also highly recommend going through and using checklists. I'm going to add this into another email. If you go to nickpolkowski.com/SMBmad, you can sign up, get the gear guide, but I'll also include my live streaming checklist. It's something I use for events. I use for live streams like this. I run through this checklist. I have several different versions of it. I'll include one for you as well of things to think about when you're going live streaming, no matter what level you happen to be at. Tony, thank you. I haven't had to cut my hair yet. He asked who does my hair. I haven't had to cut it yet. I go to Cinema right down the block. Hopefully I won't have to cut it myself because that's going to be a disaster. And yes, that is Captain America over my shoulder. My nickname in high school was Captain America because I played every sport. All right, just trying to run through, see if there are any more big questions. Courtney, I saw you had a question about thoughts on dress and makeup for women. I'm probably not the best one to answer all of this. But I do recommend one thing to consider, no matter, this goes for women, men, anything. Think about what you're wearing on camera for sure. You don't want something, so I have a really great purple shirt with a nice checked pattern that I really like, but it's way too small. So if I'm talking on camera to people, it's gonna be bouncing all over the place and it's gonna be really kind of crazy visual. I also have a blazer with just like that. So you wanna be careful of any small patterns because they're definitely gonna go a little crazy. Blue is a great color, or any sort of dark color like this is going to be really, really good. You're going to want to think about any sort of fabric and, of course, be paying attention to some of the lighting around you and how that works. Lighting is going to be kind of the big thing, honestly. Right now, I have some crazy lights set up. You can see I'm even backlit. We have some accent lights. There is a key light or a fill light over here, a big key light over here. Lighting is going to be the biggest thing. And if you don't have all these lights, at least find a good window and get some great natural lighting to come in. You're going to want to remember to face the window. There's a lot of people, especially now that Zoom meetings are a regular thing, and this goes for those as well. You don't want to be backlit. You don't want any sort of lights, whether it's window lights or even like kitchen lights or anything like that. You don't want a lot of light behind you. You want the light in front of you because if it's behind you, a lot of our cameras, especially for like Zoom or even if you're going live on your phone, they're going to adjust the exposure. And then you're going to be way too dark because it kind of darkens things in order so that the behind you is not blown out. So that's definitely one thing to consider. All right, I'm going to keep moving a little bit here. So I wanted you to continue to add questions. I will run back through all those. We're going to keep moving just a little bit here. Fran, I also saw, are virtual backgrounds an option on vMix? Yes, they absolutely are. Virtual backgrounds are definitely an option on many of the softwares that are out there, Zoom included for those of you just doing Zoom meetings. The one thing I do recommend, I'm not a huge fan of virtual backgrounds. I think you want to be really careful about, how they're lit because otherwise they can look kind of weird and a little cheap. So just be careful to make sure that you have things lit correctly with enough light. And ideally a green screen so that you can get that background just right. There are some very cool virtual backgrounds out there and people who do them well. I don't want to add that extra complexity usually in the streams I do. I like to have just kind of normal, natural backgrounds. And yes, I am streaming. So Ken just asked, are you streaming from vMix to Facebook Live and you get a chance I'm not sure about the second part of your question, but yes, I am using vMix to Facebook Live. So I'm making all the selections in vMix, running everything through vMix, and just streaming out to Facebook. And what I'll do is, because I know I can see I'm already getting lots of questions just around vMix and how it kind of works, I'll go through and create a video probably later this week and kind of do a quick little basic tutorial of what I'm doing and how that's set up and how you can possibly do that. So this week or next week, I don't want to promise too soon, I'll go through and do all of that. And I agree, plant life is going to be awesome. That is absolutely a fake plant. We have nothing living in this house besides myself and Julia. But yeah, the fake plants, always excellent. All right, so as we were mentioning here a lot with just thinking about your live streaming gear, the big thing is you're going to want to know what's possible. You're going to want to be upgrade focused. And then really the key is going to be to start where you are. The next thing I'm going to jump into is I want to talk about is driving an audience. So let's talk a little bit about why that is going to be so important. Is you want to really think about driving that audience and how to get more people to your live stream. So yes, Facebook is going to kind of push out some Facebook, YouTube, all the platforms are actively helping people get an audience, grow their audience, and connect with people, reach more people. But you want to help it along as much as possible, because the more you can help it along, the more people are going to see your live stream. So you're going to want to think about what are some of the marketing assets that you have and really take inventory of what those might be. So those could be things like your email list could be one of them. It could be other social media platforms. It could be relationships with other influencers or other people in your community. And influencers, I don't mean in the broad definition, I mean in your industry. Do you have specific people who have some credibility in your industry and have a relationship with them where you could maybe have them share this out, at least, whatever they might do to help build up some of that credibility and to get more people there. And even think about your network with friends, your network of friends, and how that might work, and how you can actually use that to get more people to your live stream. And so what is your biggest marketing asset that you have and that you can use at your disposal? Think about all the different ways you can do that and use that. Those are going to be a great way to kind of jump in. And when you're thinking about live streaming, a lot of times, like even right now, we're talking about you being a fancier live stream, doing more with your live stream. The phone, using your phone, should always be a part of your marketing plan with live streaming. You might be doing what we call personality streams. And this is where you're just going about and actually connecting with people and kind of taking them along and taking them along in your life and then promoting your upcoming live show. That's really what I mean by personality streams. So this is things that it's kind of taking people behind the scenes on your daily activity when we're able to go out and about, or talking about things that are happening around your house or how your business is handling things. It's taking them behind the scenes and really giving them that element of your personality. Maybe it's a stream of your dogs or of your cats. You're going to want to include those every so often, and then use those as a way to mention that, hey, on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. we have a live stream that's going to be going live. If you want, and we're going to be talking about this type of content, be sure to go there, tune in. That's going to be a great element to kind of build into that as well. Because one of the big things I see too many people, kind of that pitfall that I see people doing, is really relying on Facebook or YouTube or whatever the platform might be, relying on that too much to really drive traffic to your streams. Yes, they do a lot. They will promote a lot to really help things grow for your stream, but they're not going to be, it's not that magic bullet. You need to feed some audience there. You need to build up some momentum to build some credibility in order to really help your stream reach more people. So that's one thing to definitely think about. And really the take action element for this is to create a plan. So go through, create some sort of plan for your stream and think about how can we go out and really, what are we going to do to market this stream? How can we use all those inventory to really market our weekly show? And create that weekly promotional plan. You know, you can go ahead and schedule your live stream. You can go ahead and do all of these elements to help reach more people, but you want to think about what is that weekly promotional plan that I want to do. So that could be scheduling your stream, using the link then to email your list, use an Instagram story to promote it. If you can, use the swipe up feature to take people over to your scheduled stream, using Instagram posts with links and bios in order to get people to that stream, and using those personality streams. Those are all going to be elements that you're going to want to really think about when it comes to helping drive audience to that live stream of yours. And then this is the part where you're really going to want to think about, how can I create more engagement with my audience? How can I go out there and create engagement? That's really that big third element, is creating that engagement with people. And this is stopping to ask questions and stopping to kind of jump in and check in and answer and really create a lot of those elements with people. It's really focusing on that connection element with people, and what can you do to create that connection, to let people feel like they are a part of your live stream. Even with that, I have lots of questions and stuff coming in now. And so one of the big things we mentioned earlier is creating some sort of show flow and having kind of that consistent show flow. Well, within that main content piece of that show flow, you're going to want to build in a pause for engagement. You're going to want to build in points where you stop and interact with your audience and talk about how you can do that. And I did notice already, even we had one question about, is this all about Facebook? No, all of this, we're using Facebook as an example for a lot of this, but honestly, this applies to any sort of platform that you're on. Even Facebook's not even necessarily my personal favorite for going live. I'm really a big fan of YouTube and for what that can do for businesses. But there are so many streaming platforms out there. They're from Instagram lives to Facebook lives to Twitch to Mixer to you name it. There's a bunch of them out there, and I want you to. I didn't want to necessarily go down a big discussion of which platform is best for you, because that's going to depend a lot on your business and the things you're trying to accomplish. Most likely, you're going to get more engagement on your Facebook. On Facebook Lives, you're going to probably have more engagement, at least right away, if you're starting, say, from about basically zero. Really, you're going to want to go wherever you have an audience. But like things like YouTube, that live stream is going to last significantly longer than any other live stream, because that has a lot of SEO value even after you're done, especially if you do great SEO work in the description, in the title. If you have your content structured in a way that is very SEO friendly, we have clients that have live streams that are 9 months old that are still getting hundreds of views every single day. That's not happening on Facebook. That's not happening on Instagram. That's not happening on a lot of other platforms. So it's definitely something you want to consider before jumping in. But even a few months ago, I would have told you to almost complete, unless you had a huge audience, to completely ignore Instagram Live. But just over the last month, there's been a huge resurgence in Instagram Live. And so it's something that you probably want to consider, depending on your brand, depending on where you have an audience already. That might be the right platform for you. I still don't like that they disappear in 24 hours. There's still lots of things about Instagram that where I don't necessarily know if you're starting completely from zero, that should be the one you jump into. But it's going to a lot depend on your business and trying to figure out which platform is right for you. Can you do Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Live all at the same time? That's a complicated question, to be honest. You can't do. Instagram that's not even true anymore. I only recommend doing Instagram Live from your phone. I wouldn't do it from any other spot right now. Maybe in the future there might be some possibilities. But really, you're only going to be going live from your phone, and you can only go live to one platform from your phone. Now, if you have a software like vMix or some of the other ones out there, there are ways where you can do multiple streams. But you're going to be using a lot of bandwidth, and you're going to want to have a lot of bandwidth in order to be able to make that happen. So for many people, it's not what you're going to want to do. You're also going to run into the issue of trying to manage comments on multiple platforms at the same time, which can be very difficult. It can be a big challenge, especially if you're just starting out. So what I would recommend is honestly pick your favorite platform. Pick the one that you think's best. Start going live there. If you feel like you got it, if you feel okay, if you want to then jump into another one, then I maybe would. But really, the only two that I think you could go live at the same time, honestly, is probably Facebook and YouTube. Not from a technical aspect, but just from a show structure aspect, just from a what works best on those platforms aspect. And even then, you're going to want to really be careful about how you engage. All right. And yes, we will include a link to the slides. I'll be sure to include that as well for all of you. And yep, so Steve mentioned, so are you recording the Facebook live stream and then uploading it to YouTube? That's what I'm going to probably do. That's what we're probably going to do with this one. We are recording it right now at the same time. The reason I do recommend recording it versus just trying to download it from Facebook afterwards is because we're going to get a much higher quality recording. If you try to download it from Facebook after the fact, they kind of compress things and it just doesn't look as good. It will work, but it's not as high quality as I personally would like. So I am recording it right here in the through the vMix app. So I have a 1080p version with a high bit rate that looks really great. And then, yeah, we can upload it to YouTube after the fact. You lose the value of going live on YouTube because YouTube does have some value. They're pushing live a little bit more. So the algorithm's giving a little bit more favor and it does a few other things. There actually is a slightly separate algorithm for YouTube live video versus YouTube recorded and published video. And they're giving a little bit more push, it seems, to live videos. Plus, generally people do watch live videos longer. So it is something to kind of weigh and consider and think about. All right. Let's continue to move along here. You're going to want to do something like ask a lot of questions throughout your streams and to really encourage that engagement. So even at the beginning, we were talking about, hey, let us know if you've ever gone live before. Let us know we're talking about posting things on Instagram. We're asking questions. Even for a lot of your audience, you can ask them where they're viewing from. Most of ours are probably from Madison or close by. So we didn't necessarily go that route, but asking people where they're watching from or asking very specific questions that people can answer in 1 or 2 words is going to be great. Did you do a virtual brunch at all this weekend? Yes or no? Leave it in the comments. Things like that is going to be great to really get some of that engagement going and get some of those things going. And the more questions you can ask, the better. There is one big pitfall I want to really talk about here, and that is getting discouraged. When you start out, no matter what platform you have, unless you already have an audience, you're likely not going to get a lot of people engaging right away. You're probably going to be talking to yourself, maybe a couple other people. And that's just going to be the reality. If you have an audience, you might have a kickstart where you're going to be able to talk to more people, but likely there's not going to be a lot of people there. Don't let that discourage you. I want you to keep going. The audience is going to show up. More people are going to look at it afterwards, and that's where things are going to really start to grow for you. And I want to really recommend that you don't spend too much time looking at the numbers. Especially if you're the content creator, you don't want to focus in on that too much just because it's going to be difficult unless you're able to separate that out and just know I'm committed to this for 6 months or whatever it might be, committed to this, and I know I'm going to see growth if I fully commit and go that direction. So I want to encourage you to not spend too much time looking at the numbers. And I have a couple more strategy elements that I wanted to run through. We're going to go through them pretty fast just because of their kind of work. They're a little bit more about developing a business through Facebook, and I want to make sure I have a little bit more time for some of your questions and wrap up without taking all of your morning for being on this live stream. Thanks again for everyone being here. We're getting tons of great comments. I really appreciate that. Tons of people jumping in, having great comments, having great questions. I'm definitely going to go through everything after the fact and run through all of those questions as well. But strategy 4, funnel development. This is where you're going to really want to think about how can we get people from Facebook Live is going to kind of be your live stream is going to kind of be your top of that funnel piece. It's going to be for new people or for people without a big relationship with you who are just kind of finding out about you. It's maybe they're typed in Google and found you your YouTube live stream. Whatever it might be, this is kind of the top element. You're gonna wanna think about, okay, how do I get these people to move down that funnel? How do I get them to really develop that relationship? That's really what this is about, is developing that relationship. Getting them back to the next video, to the next live stream, or getting them to take that next action that's gonna move them down the line. So that's gonna be thinking about, what does your nurture sequence look like? How do you go from people being on that live stream to what's that next step they should be taking, whether it's scheduling a free call, creating a lead PDF, or maybe it's even getting them to starting to comment. Those are going to be big things too, is just getting those comments. That's kind of that first element, and getting some engagement. And then how do you move them to that more committed relationship with you, for lack of a better way of saying that. You really just want to focus on those connections and moving people down that funnel. So the way to do this, a really great kind of action item for this, is to go through and to create a lead magnet, to create some sort of lead magnet. A lot of those I'm going to recommend for those lead magnets are going to be some sort of like resource PDF, or say a live stream checklist, for example, that you can get by going to nickpalkowski.com/SMBmad. So having something like that is going to be a great way to kind of move people to that next level in your business relationship. So it might be a resource guide, it might be an email series, could be a mini video course, or it could be just schedule a free consulting call, or even a checklist. Checklists honestly work really well, and that's something I do recommend people consider and explore, because they work so well. So what can you do to create that lead magnet to kind of move people to that next level of engagement? And this is where you're going to, once you have that funnel, that's kind of what your funnel really looks like, is thinking through what is that nurture process and how do we get people to that next level. Then that moves us really into that fifth element, which is going beyond the live video. And what are the next steps after people watch your live stream? How do we go beyond that live? And that's going to look like, for me, this is actually a little bit of a pet peeve of mine that I have. I have been a content creator for a long time. I've helped lots of clients create content, and I am so frustrated when I see people who let great pieces of content, that podcast, that live video that they spent so much time working on and getting just right, figuring out their outline, all those hours, and they just simply let their content die. I don't want you to let your content die. Find ways to really repurpose it, to really use this in a different way. So maybe it's taking your live stream and going through and then turning it into a podcast. Maybe that's what you're doing. You're stripping out the audio and throwing it up there, or you're throwing your Facebook live stream and putting it on YouTube as a recorded video. When we're finally able to go to the live events, this is a great place to do a lot of that, because you're able to have lots of connections with people and you're able to do a lot of in-person live streamings. But think about ways that you can really go through and repurpose a lot of the content that you're creating in order to reach more people, in order to keep that content going beyond just that live stream. So these could be repurposing things for, like, say, an email nurture sequence. This is a really great one that a lot of people don't think about. Take some of your live videos, especially if they're on YouTube or even if they're on Facebook, and grab that URL and turn that into an email sequence. Go through and add with each of your live videos. Maybe you're going through and answering for 10 weeks, answering the top 10 questions that you get from clients or get from potential customers, and go through and just answer those questions. And create videos around that, and then create an email, put it in a nurture sequence, and then you can send that out to prospects on an automated basis, or even create templates around it. It's a great way to do that. Or maybe you're then putting it on YouTube, or creating a blog post, transcribing, captioning, turning it into a blog post, like rewriting it some, or you can even run ads with a lot of this stuff. And the one pitfall I see with this is a lot of people tend to do too much. They try to do way too much with this, and it can just overwhelm them, and it's kind of that similar thing. So I want to really encourage you to just start with one. start with one. Don't try to do too much. Think about one way that you can repurpose things and use in order to reach more people. So that is kind of the overview of everything. That's the big 5 elements. And hopefully just from a lot of this, I'm going to go through and take a few more questions, but hopefully from a lot of this, you can see really what the power of live video is and the ways it can be used and how it can be used, especially now in this time where a lot of us are stuck at home, to really create bigger connections with people and really go and dive in there. All right. So if you have any more questions, any additional questions, I will stick around for a little while longer. I just wanted to quickly run through again the 5 elements of a live streaming strategy, and that is 1, the weekly show, 2, driving audience, creating an engagement, the funnel development, and then going beyond your live video. That is the big things. So thank you. I will stick around. And remember, if you do want, you can also grab the gear guide. I'm also going to include the live streaming checklist in that as well, just for all of you. And I'll even go through, I have a little element that helps you think about what sort of, which platform is going to be best for you. So I'll dive into that a little bit too in those. I'll include all of those in that email afterwards. So if you want any of that, including the slides, I'll send the slides over to Margie as well. nickpalkowski.com/SMBmad for all of that. But let's jump into some of your questions because I know a lot of them have been jumping in there. Thank you all. I see a bunch of you saying thank you. This was great. Hopefully, I'm glad it was helpful. Yeah, and if you have any questions after this, definitely reach out. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions about all of this if we didn't go through there. I will be going through all the comments here and trying to answer them as well. All right, let's see. Jenny, would you discourage going live at different times of the day or week to make it more available for people of different work schedules? Part of that is going to depend. I'm not saying you shouldn't be going live or multiple times a week, or if you're able to do that, especially now. I know a lot of content creators or a lot of business owners and people they have more time to develop content. So if you can do that now, awesome. Yeah, go live at a few random times. I do really, though, like having that, at least that one big show. This is something where, maybe it's put together, maybe you have lower thirds, maybe you have a more consistent template, things more thought out a little bit more maybe, and having that big content piece show, that weekly show. That one I would really recommend always doing, and pick whichever one is going to be best for you, whatever time is going to be best for you. Adjust it to your demographics if you can, but you need to do what works for you. I would stick with a single day and a single time for that weekly show. That's kind of the best practice in reality. I just want to make sure to see people going live. And actually, even with that, there's one thing I was thinking about running. I would love to see us do as SMBmad community. Let's do a little live video challenge. I would love to see people kind of go live every day for the rest of April. Let's make it a daily thing. Let's get into that habit. I'm going to be jumping in and committing to doing this. You can use the hashtag. Use the hashtag live challenge, and I would say feel free to tag SMBmad or to tag me in it. I would love to see all of these live videos. And want to see you get out there, take some of what you've learned here and put it into practice, and to really start using a lot of this stuff in the real world and where we are right now. All right, I'm just trying to read through a few of these. All right, so we see a lot of great comments here. I know, let's see, what are we running on time? We're definitely about time to wrap up. I see one question just about lighting people with glasses. That is going to always be kind of a difficult thing. Generally, if you can have a little bit of a higher angle on the lights, you're going to be able, so have contacts now, but I used to wear glasses all the time. So you're gonna generally want kind of a higher angle on the lights and a little bit more off to the side. It's gonna be more difficult. I know a lot of people talk about loving the ring lights. If you have glasses, ring lights or the Diva light is not going to be the thing for you, just because it's definitely going to show up there just with the placement of that. So if you can get lights a little higher up with pointed down at a more angle, you're likely going to be able to get some good lighting that way. But honestly, you're just going to have to experiment and adjust with it a bunch in order to get that to work. It's just one of those tricky things that you unfortunately have to deal with. All right, I'm going to stick around for a few more minutes here and just kind of look, see if there are any more questions coming in. I know there's a bunch that are way back in the timeline. Again, I'll go through and kind of go through and comment on those throughout the day here, and be sure to get you some answers to any questions that you have. But the big thing I want to mention here is that is live video easy? No. Honestly, going live is not necessarily going to be easy, but it is one of those elements that is worth it. It's one of those things that's going to allow you to create a solid connection with your community, with your audience, and really help build that relationship so people are more than just followers, they're more than customers, they're truly become fans and community members. And that's why I really want to encourage you to just go get started now. Again, I want to mention the live video challenge. Let's do that for the rest of April here. Can you go live with me every single day? It can be a short 1 minute video. I don't care how long the live video is. I want you to start getting used to going live. That's the only way you're going to get better. That's the only way you're going to get that practice going and get things to that next level. So I want to encourage you to go do that. I wanted to, before we wrapped up, I wanted to check in a little bit on just our community and see what some of your live setups look like. So let's see if we have any new posts here about people watching the live stream. I don't think there's a lot new, but I'm going to jump to that. And then we're going to bring Margie back on to say kind of the final goodbyes and mention anything here from the live video. But here we are showing some people's live streaming setups, or their SMBmad setups this morning here on Instagram. We have a few of those. There's a nice shot of Margie, followed by all the dogs. There we go, more dogs, lots of dogs this morning, and lots of people kind of watching on the live video. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. And again, I just want to mention, you can head on over to nickpalkowski.com. That's where you can find more about me and all of the things that I do. Work on a lot of video work, live streaming, and things like that. So let's see if I got to switch a couple things in order to bring her back on. So hold on, we're working on it. All right, let's get your audio back. And hi, Margie, you're back.
Hi. Welcome back. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Give Nick a huge round of applause. That was just great work, Nick. I'm spinning thinking about all the things, but I'm going to try to do the challenge. I do not like being in front of the camera, so it's a good challenge. So thank you for everything you've done today. We really appreciate it. And for everyone, just a reminder, if you're interested in trying to win a cup, make sure that you post a picture, and we will do a drawing tomorrow. So thank you again to Nick, and you can sign me off.
Thanks
All
again.
right, thanks everyone. We'll see you next month, one way or another.
Thank you, everyone.